Hello and welcome to SmackDown. I am here with Digi this time.
Hello.
Uh, and today we are going to talk about PlayStation. Well, let's start with the history of the name PlayStation. Before PlayStation was its own thing, it was actually going to be a Nintendo thing.
Yeah, it was going to be. It was originally going to be like Sega's sort of answer to like a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo.
Nintendo's answer to Sega CD, yeah.
You catch my drift.
Yeah, I'm just making sure we got that out there. Their initial plan was to work with Sony because Sony knew a lot of things about CDs and stuff. And there's even some prototype units that you can find floating around the internet that took Super Nintendo cartridges and CDs. Um, like Nintendo, however, did not like the state of their agreements. See, under the state of their agreement, Nintendo would make the money off the console, but like the Sony would still have the rights to produce the Sony would have the rights to the games produced for the CD, which Nintendo hated that. So when Sony went out to the convention to present their partnership with Nintendo soon after made an ass out of Sony by announcing they were partnering with a different CD manufacturer, Philips.
Yep.
Uh,
Let's just say, as a result, Sony is a little iffy with Nintendo, especially these days.
yeah. Like they were considering scrapping everything and moving on, but then one of the people involved with the project, they were initially unsure working with Nintendo, but now Nintendo's out of the picture, they decided they would just like take what they were given and make something new, something original. Like they removed the space between play and stations. Now it's just one word instead of two.
I think the guy you're talking about is Ken Karayaki. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his last name right.
Ken Kutaragi, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I believe yes.
Hmm. Anyways, so yes, we got the PlayStation, and PlayStation itself became a sub brand under Sony, so people don't like see the name Sony and get scared off because Sony is like a TV company. What business do they have doing games? Um, anyway, but that's not the only time they got a rise out of a company. They also got a rise out of Sega when they presented their system at a trade show. Like, Sega was hyping it up, like, oh, it's 400, we got major deals with these retailers, and it's on sale right freaking now, go get it now, now, now. And they were like so freaking desperate for attention that the guys at PlayStation, they didn't even go through with their attendance speech. The guy just walked up there and he said $2.99. He walked out like a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yep.
Let's see here. But okay, so that's the history of the name, but what of the system itself? Let's start with the first one. The PlayStation. It not only was it a really good game system, it was also a really high-end CD player, better than most home CD players at the time.
Yeah. From what I've known, that this console actually got a really good start, with in terms of the sales.
Mm-hmm.
So much that I think I had 100,000 units day one, from what I remember.
Yes. It was really popular, really well known. I'd react to some commercials, but we probably get our channel destroyed just for looking at them. But anyways, with every the PlayStation stuck around from its launch date of what was the launch date? From 1994.
I can't remember.
Here we go.
I can't remember when, but it was like something around 1994 to 1985.
Yeah, it says right here, launched in December of 94, just in time for Christmas, believe it or not. And it lasted for many, many years. Many years. Did I mention years? There's many of them. Let's see. It's so successful, it didn't even discontinue until 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been because of the PlayStation 3 being announced.
Yes. At the halfway point, they released a smaller model called the PS1, which made sense because the PS2 was coming right around the corner.
Speaking about that PS1 model, I think I have like the previous redesign that didn't really have that LCD screen thing.
Yeah, the small model, I think all the small models supported the LCD screen. It's just the LCD screen was optional.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I wish I had the LCD screen. Too bad it's freaking rare now. There are third-party screens, but they're only in Europe.
Yeah.
Alright. So, it was popular because it had a lot of games, especially popular games. It retailed for less, and it aggressively marketed to the youth, especially the competitive youth, saying, you're not ready for this shit. Which caused every Gen Xer / millennial around the world to be like, bitch, you challenge me? And then they got the system.
Yeah. Fun fact, I think some of the companies that were loyal to Nintendo actually at some point decided to go for Sony due to certain things. Like, for example, Square Enix.
Yes.
And I think, and one of the reasons I think so is because, Nintendo's decision of going for cartridges, which was expensive at the time.
Yeah, because not only did Nintendo's partnership with Sony fall through, so did their partnership with Philips, which caused them to get mad about CDs, and they stuck with cartridges for their Nintendo 64. And that's why Square Enix left and took Final Fantasy VII with it, because Final Fantasy VII you could play on 2 PlayStation CDs versus probably a gajillion N64 cartridges.
Yep.
Can you imagine how that would have played out? We played the cutscene, next cartridge, click. We make our character, next cartridge, click. We leave the house, next cartridge, click. Oh, a monster appears, next cartridge, click.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyways. So, not only did the PlayStation set a standard for home consoles with CDs, but it also brought together the previously infamous modding community, homebrew communities of the consoles of old. It's like there are people that do hack systems for piracy, but some people are in it to challenge themselves and develop their own games in their own spare time. And with PlayStation, there was a program in place to do that called Net Eurose.
Mm-hmm. That was just saying.
Yeah. Don't blame me being the internet. Anyways, so Net Yorose was Japanese for "Let's do it together," and as such, that's what gaming was. That's what the system was about. You could buy a $750 kit, which is a lot today. And what it is you get a special PlayStation in sexy matte black with no region locking, and you get a bunch of manuals and software dev kits. So yes, you could very well program your own PlayStation games from your Windows 95 computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not only would you be able to make your own games for fun and distribute them with other people on the internet, but you could also send them in to Sony themselves for them to feature on their PlayStation Underground demo discs or whatever, depending on like who was running the demos at the time.
Yep.
Yep. Like in fact, some of the people actually made it big after having their start on Net Yorose. Like the guy that did what was that first game? Terra Incognita. That's what it was. The guy that made Terra Incognita went on to work for Square Enix on Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And the guy that made Time Slip went on to actually get Time Slip ported to the Xbox Live Arcade platform. So, anyways, in addition to bringing together the gamers and the hobbyists, it also brought together the people that love to spend shitloads of money on plastic, because they also made lots and lots of accessories. I'm not going to say they invented the memory card, but they were one of the companies that made memory cards mainstream. See, back in the olden days when games had cartridges, you saved your data to the cartridge itself. If the battery were to die or the cartridge were to get busted, you had to get a new one, and there goes your save. But with
this was like way before all of the hard drive stuff added onto consoles.
Yeah, so thus came memory cards. You could scratch your disc, use it as a frisbee, eat it, step on it, and shred it, and no matter how many new copies you had to go through, your memory card was there with all your save data.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the PlayStation Multitap. See, the system did not support 4 players out the box, only 2. So you had to buy a thing in order to make it 4. But of the games that supported it, they were pretty damn good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Nintendo 64 supported 4 players out the box, and almost no one used it.
Yeah. Sorry for the Titans kind of thing.
It's fine. So anyways, what other accessories did they make? They made a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. A mouse which could be used to play games that used a mouse, like Doom and My Disney Kitchen and Doom. Did I already say Doom?
Yes, you have said him. You said him multiple times.
Okay. Next, the PlayStation Link cable. in my opinion, coolest and yet stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Basically, what it is you could link two PlayStations together, and then, like, provide you had two PlayStations, two copies of the same game, two TVs, it was like a multiplayer arcade experience. The definitive way to play Wipeout in multiplayer, because it was the only way you could play Wipeout in multiplayer.
Yeah, I thought that thing was kind of dumb too.
Yeah. It was bulky, it was stupid, it was expensive, it was stupid, it was unnecessary. Did I mention it's stupid?
Yes.
Alright. GunCon, because having an NES Zapper and a SNES Super Scope wasn't good enough. We need a light gun on our PlayStation system too.
Yeah.
And then in Japan only, they made the Pocket Station. Imagine a freaking memory card combined with a Tiger Electronic handheld. That's what a Pocket Station is.
Pocket Station is like a sort of a precursor to Sega Dreamcast's VMU things.
Yeah, the difference is that the VMU came out right out the gate in all the countries, whereas Pocket Station, while having minor support outside of Japan, was still a Japan-only thing. And, what else? And plus, they didn't have any cute little Easter eggs. Like, on a Dreamcast VMU, you open it up to see the chip inside, and it says potato. Get it? It's a potato chip.
It's crazy sometimes.
Anyways, because the games came out on CDs, it would have been easy to pirate them unless they did something about it. So they did. They made it that by using a special optical drive, they could burn in a little wobble to the start of the disc read process, and that determines what region a game was made for, and that also determines if a game is illegal or not.
Yeah.
Okay. According to this, the wobble was within the CD tolerances of Redbook Audio, so you could put a PlayStation disc in a computer still and read it, but because it did not detect the wobble, it would not play the disc even if you burned a perfect backup. Let's see. When they finally got around to fixing some issues with the early models involving FMV skipping, they also implemented a thing called SoundScope. Like, if you put in your music CD, then press the select button while it's playing a track, it would give you some cool visualizations. There's also...
Wait, you mean that rabbit game?
No, not VibRibbon. That's a different thing.
You mean that?
Wait.
Sorry, I just kind of remember there was a music game that, well, I don't know, like it had like the ability, like it allow you to like play any custom CD as you wish, and you could be able to play it as your deal or whatever. You know?
Yeah, that was VibRibbon. But I was referring to the PlayStation BIOS itself. Round about the 7500 revision, they implemented Soundscape. Best I can describe it. Do you remember in the olden days you would like listen to a CD on a computer and the Windows Media Player would make these like either weird lines or shapes or pictures or whatever the frick?
I don't think I remember that.
Anyway, like, Windows called them visualizations, and that's basically what SoundScope is. You put in a CD, listen to some music, press the select button, and boom, your PlayStation makes weird, trippy imagery based on the CD.
Yeah.
Anyways, The next thing. Here's an interesting fact that almost nobody knows unless you read Wikipedia. There's a specific model released around the lesser Asian market that could play video CDs. Yeah. Video CDs were like kind of like a combination. Go ahead.
It's kind of like this like weird prototype thing before DVDs were even conceived, I guess.
Yes. It did help that when DVDs finally came out, they became back compatible with VCDs for a time. But that also kind of helped the bootleg and piracy market because video CDs could be remarketed as DVD compatibles.
Damn.
Alright. Enough about the technical porn of PlayStation 1. Let's talk about our favorite PlayStation 1 games.
There are some I can think of the top of my head. Of course, both you and I really love the Never Stop Spider-Man game.
Yes, all two of them.
Yep.
Yeah. What a lot of people didn't know is that the engine for those games actually started from the engine of another Never Stop game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. They even allude to it in both the games, because like in the first Spider-Man game, you could see adverts for Pro Skater 2 in some places. And in the Pro Skater 2, there's cheat codes where you can play as Spider-Man.
Yep.
Let's see. So yeah, Tony Hawk's got to start there. Spider-Man was really well known. What else do we got? What's also well known? We was talking about Vib Ribbon. That didn't become popular here until it went on the PSN store, but it was really popular for its time in Japan and Europe because it was created by Nunsha, the people that made Parappa the Rapper.
Of course, you do know you guys remember the certain well-known classic games, Tomb Raider series, the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, Spyro trilogy.
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that there were a couple of obscure PS1 games I did like. There was a game based out. There was a Beyblade game based out of the original series, like the first season. I did like this one game known as Engine Racing, which is just basically like airplanes like racing around. And of course, there are weapons in the game, but that's only if you were playing like more advanced, playing with the more advanced airplanes.
I like Wheel of Fortune.
And there's this other one. And there's this one more other one. What was it? Fuck. Damn it. Get out of my mind.
I mean, you want to talk obscure, you can't get much more obscure than Monster Rancher.
Oh, yeah, that one Pokemon ripoff.
Well, it's kind of better than a Pokemon ripoff because not only did it have monsters you could raise and fight, but the monsters were birthed from music CDs.
I don't know. Speaking about that, of course, there were 5 Digimon games that were exclusive to the system, like 3 Digimon World games, Rumble Arena, and a video game that's based out of the older version of the Digimon Train Card game.
I played a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It was okay.
Oh yeah, the Forbidden Memories game. I'm just gonna say that game's just off to me. Not gonna lie, it's just off. I like the soundtrack, but just the rest of it is just bleh.
Yeah, you can sometimes hear the soundtrack in my videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What else can I say? One thing I really liked about the PS1, although I didn't get to experience much of it firsthand, was the demos. Like it was the first, one of, if not the first systems outside of computers to do demos distributions. Like on CDs that came with other CDs, or CDs that came in magazines, or just CDs you got at a Pizza Hut. They had like demos of games that you could try before you buy. And the neat thing about it is it was one of the first systems to do demos right. They gave you just enough content for you to try it and see if you like it, but not so much of it that you could play through it and say you beat the whole thing, which also deterred piracy. Because, like, copy a demo off, try to modify it, what are you going to get? You ain't going to get shit. You're going to get a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, what else can we say? Yeah, there were a lot of other famous games that got their start on there, like Pac-Man World and Ridge Racer. Remember that one?
God.
Oh, and Soul Blade, which was the first game in the Soul Calibur series. And Tekken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many great games. Like, it's legacy lives on, and that there's still a modding scene for it today. According to this, the best-selling PlayStation game at nearly 11 million units is Gran Turismo.
Not really deserved it, in my opinion, because honestly, I kind of prefer Mario Kart and its clones over. Ugh.
Yeah, like, everyone loves, like, fantasy kart racers. The beauty of Gran Turismo is that it's a car racing simulator in both arcade and simulator format. It didn't have the bells and whistles Mario Kart did, but it gave people the chance to figure out what kind of racing game they enjoyed the most. A realistic simulator or an arcade bump and race type. Okay, it also made famous the idea of analog joysticks. Because, like, not only could you move the stick, because, like, it's kind of like the N64 in that you can move the stick in any direction, and with any amount of force in any direction, it'll recognize it and do something with it. But this was kind of the first system to kind of, like, standardize, like, the idea of two sticks, like one for movement and one for a camera.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, okay, so that's enough of the PlayStation 1. The next one is the one I really grew up with, the PlayStation 2. It came out around 2000, about halfway into the PS1's lifespan.
I love this.
And
I love this.
mhm.
I'll just say in the PlayStation 2 you were just about to mention.
Yes. The PlayStation 2 not only introduced new capabilities, but also introduced me to the idea of budget gaming, because while I was already accustomed to the idea of like budget titles, because I would get some games from no-name companies on the cheap, like A1 Boxing and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or whatever, for like dirt cheap. But the PS2 itself also had some interesting things going for it. It came with a DualShock controller right out the box, and the PlayStation 2 itself could also not only be back compatible with PS1 games and peripherals, but you could also watch DVDs on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the PS2 went on to be the best-selling game console of all time, mostly because of that fact alone.
Yeah.
Because, like, go ahead.
The entire fucking planet.
Yep. Like, this came out for what?
It's like
200, 300?
150 plus million units.
Right. Like, I don't know how much it was when it came out, but go ahead. Here it is.
And to this day, there are still some consoles that are like, as of now, there hasn't really been a video game console that had gone up to where PlayStation 2 is. Even though there were some close calls, like Wii, the PlayStation 1 itself, Nintendo DS. Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't gonna stop from trying. Anyway, for $300, it was less expensive than a standard DVD player at the time, so obviously people were gonna be on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were and it got its own accessories, like a remote for the DVD player, a network adapter so you could connect to the internet or hook up a hard drive for Linux. It had microphones for singing games, a camera for camera games. The very first Guitar Hero controllers were on this thing.
There we go.
Yeah. It used to have an iLink port, but only a couple games supported the iLink port. It's basically the same as PlayStation's link cable. Eventually that was dropped in favor of LAN networking because, hey, you got a network adapter, why not use it?
Yeah.
It had its own multi-tap. I think I already mentioned it can run Linux if you get the hard drive and the network expander and the mouse and the keyboard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see here.
And by the way, fun fact that this console actually lasted longer than. To this day, it's actually the longest. This I think is the second or something because Atari 2600 beat its lifespan by 2 years from what I can remember. But yeah, it lasted until 2013 due to PlayStation 4 about to come out.
Mm-hmm. Alright. And it was also way ahead of its time in capability because if you had component cables, some games not only supported progressive scan, but very few games could also go all the way up to 1080 interlaced high-definition display.
Yeah. Besides, only a few games support this 1080p or whatever.
1080i. 1080p came later.
Still though.
Right. What else? The best-selling game of all time on the PS2 was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas at 17.3 million units.
Another game that's undeservingly to be on there, because I mean, I can understand what GTA was trying to do at the time, but honestly, I would have preferred playing its clones.
Right. Let's see here.
Whatever. I will say to this day, PlayStation 2 is still my most favorite console.
Mine too. And with some mods and homebrew, you could totally enhance the experience. Like for me, I have like a 200 gig hard drive hooked up to the thing to play games without wearing out the disk drive or worrying about loading times.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can I say about the PS2? It got a slimline model in 2004. It cut costs by consolidating the PS1 emulation parts into a single chip and removing the need for an optional network adapter in favor of having one that's built in. Unfortunately, this means you can't use hard drives with it.
Yeah. I still find it funny though, the original model, the original model allow you to have the option to put a hard drive on the back of its steel, but only like certain games like SOCOM 4 or something like that support it.
SOCOM 4, some of the sports games, Final Fantasy 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is efficient as Xbox hard drive, in my opinion.
Yeah. One thing that set its online community apart from something like, say, Xbox Live was that you didn't have to pay to use the service. And not only that, game servers were run by the developer of the game, meaning that anyone can either shut it off too early because fuck the players, or they can leave it on forever because it means it doesn't really hurt anything staying up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. The DualShock 2 controller that it comes with is different from the DualShock 1 in that it's in that while it does have vibration, it has dynamic vibration, and instead of just strictly digital buttons, every button has analog pressure sensitivity, so certain games can determine how hard you're holding buttons or how hard you're pressing them.
Yeah.
Mm.
You want to talk about the games?
Sure. Like I mentioned before, Guitar Hero got its start on this platform.
Oh, by the way, a bunch of other famous Sony PlayStation icons actually also got their start here. Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, and of course you got Kratos from God of War.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and some big names from the PS1 had even bigger offerings on the PS2, like Parappa the Rapper. Parappa the Rapper. Hang on. Shoot. I can't say Crash or Spyro. Those went indie at one point.
Yeah, they were going on to like other consoles beside from 2. But
yeah. Oh, here we go. The Dance Dance Revolution series. The Dance Dance Revolution series was like true to life. Was like nearly arcade identical on the PS2. So much so that the original Dance Dance Revolution Supernova arcade cabinets just ran on modified PS2s.
By the way, I should say this, that with the exception of Call of Duty 3, the ones that were like the first two that came on the console, Finest Hour and Big Red One, I'm not a big fan of those. Like, seriously, they're just not that good games in my opinion.
Right.
You know, controls are a little clunky, and, well, for a preference kind of thing, I just don't like the health bar that was in those games. Usually I don't mind health bars, but in the sense of Call of Duty, well, someone like me who got used to the regenerative health bar in the series, yeah, the health bar is just way off. It just feels off in this case.
Right, of course.
I'll say this, that there are other, like, if you want to play FPS games on the PlayStation 2, there's others I kind of recommend. Killzone 1, the two Red Faction games, the Titan Splitters trilogy. Oh yeah, there's also some of the 007 games.
Right.
Like my most favorite knife.
Nine Fire, yeah. Right. And there's lots of other kind of cool games the PS2 has as well. I can kind of attest that the casual scene has no shortage of fun party games like Trivial Pursuit Unhinged and, once again, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's actually where Harmonix got its start, because before Guitar Hero, they made other rhythm-based games like Frequency and Amplitude, and even co-developed Karaoke Revolution.
Yep.
Let's see here. What else can I say? In 2010, there was released a Sony Bravia TV in the European market, which was a TV with a PlayStation 2 built into it.
Right.
But before that, in Japan only, there was a system called a PSX.
Oh yeah, that was sadly Japan exclusive. From what I've heard, the system is it actually has a really bad cooling system. Like, it could be able to be overheated easily.
Yeah.
Although one thing I would say certain, PSX, it's actually kind of feels like a prototype of the PS3 because it has a similar menu system to it.
Yes, the cross-media bar, which would later become well-known on PS3 and PSP. And not only did it have the ability to play PS1 and PS2 games, as well as DVDs and CDs, but it also had DVR capability for your line-in television.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, now we're bringing up the PS3, let's get right into it. What it didn't help the PS3 at the start was its launch price of $500 to $600, even if it had a Blu-ray player in it.
Yeah, the way how the system's prices, it was similar to what happened with something like the 3DO back in the 90s. Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, like, it really showed the shift in people's, like, line of thinking when it came to buying systems that could also be multimedia devices. Like, when the PS2 came out, it was $300, which was cheaper than a DVD player at the time, and it was easy to say, like, little Johnny down the street has a DVD player, and we could get this one. It's cheaper, and it can play great games. It's like, cool, let's do it. But then here comes the PS3 at $600. It's got a Blu-ray player, and now the kids still want it, but the parents are catching on. It's like, but little Johnny down the street is a Blu-ray player. Yeah, well, if little Johnny down the street shoved a cactus up his ass, would you do that too?
Sheesh.
Anyways, so yes, this is the PlayStation 3, and like I said, it came with a Blu-ray player. The original model was back compatible with the PlayStation 2 games natively, and supported PlayStation 1 games via emulation.
Yeah. Fun fact, sadly, the PlayStation 3 was like the last PlayStation game. PlayStation system. What the fuck's wrong with me? Like, it was like the last PlayStation system to where, like, it had backwards compatibility to where you can actually play them on disc rather than some stupid online service bullshit.
Yeah. Like, in fact, later models of the PlayStation 3 Slim consolidated their components to reduce cost, and that took away PlayStation 2 compatibility with it, but you could still play PlayStation 1 games on disc via emulation.
Let's just say that the thing is the PlayStation 2 emulation's not perfect. You have to play some of the original model that had like 20, 60, and some 80 gigabyte models to do it.
Yeah, the 20 and 60 gigabyte
Honestly,
models
though,
were native. The 80 gigabyte model used emulation.
Yeah, honestly, I recommend just sticking to playing the original hardware. Original PS2 hardware, at least at the time. If you were to live somewhere around 2006 or 7, you're like in your teen years or something, I kind of would have recommend just sticking with the PS2 until the prices would have dropped a bit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that kind of happened. To be honest, that actually kind of happened with me. Like, I never got my PS3 until like 2012, but instead of one of the original models, it's the first Slim model that I actually own.
Yeah. Much like the lifespan of the last system, this actually came out halfway into the lifespan of the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 discontinued in 2013. This came out in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. The first and second model system supported Super Audio CDs. What are Super Audio CDs? Give me a second. Let's see. They were CDs that had the size of a DVD, and you could listen to music in surround sound.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody used it, so it got discontinued.
Yeah.
The Slim models, however, supported video CDs, and some of them and they also supported Super Video CDs, which was supposed to be an alternative to DVDs. Blah blah blah. Trying to find a thing. It could support 50 or 60 frames per second depending on region, but it was only standard definition. Fuck. I'm trying to find something good here. Interactive menus, hyperlinks, karaoke lyrics. So basically, this was what a DVD could have been if we were all poor. Okay, what's a good thing I could say? I need something good. Oh yes, the PlayStation Network was introduced with the PS3, which meant it had its own social gaming service. You could connect with friends and play online games, send messages, and it also was one of the first PlayStations to have a marketplace where you could buy and download games and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, one advantage the PS3 had... Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember something. what was it? I don't know, something. Oh, right. Sorry, going off subject, but it has to do with the Blu-ray PlayStation thing.
Right.
Gotta be honest, I kind of felt like Blu-ray, in terms of like video, trying to be this alternative to DVD, just felt off. In the long run.
Yeah, like PlayStation won the format. Sony won the format wars against Microsoft with the Blu-ray versus the HD DVD, but they would still suffer in the long term because while the battle was going on, Microsoft was working on their killer nuke, that is digital distribution. They were the first to get on board with things like Netflix and digital downloading of video.
Yeah.
Which left PlayStation in the dust for about a year in that market.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The PlayStation Network had one advantage over Xbox Live in that, once again, you didn't have to pay to play games online.
Sadly, though, I think the reason why they changed is because of this hack that they had back in 2011.
Yeah, like nowadays you can still play PlayStation 3 games online without paying. But the difference is that some game developers, because they're greedy, money-hungry bastards and they don't like used games, have a thing called an online pass. Let's see.
I don't like it, honestly.
Okay, what else could we say about this thing? When it first came out, it had a controller called a 6-axis controller. It was wireless, it could not vibrate, but it had gyroscopic sensors on it, so you could tell when the controller was like being tilted and shaken around. So you could use that in some games, I guess.
Yeah.
But later they realized how much no one would use it, so later models of the PS3 shipped with a DualShock 3, which is just an enhanced DualShock 2 that's wireless.
Yeah.
Let's see, it's so powerful, the PS3, that the Air Force Research Laboratory created a supercomputer. This supercomputer ran by combining and connecting together 1,760 PS3 units. Like, it was the 33rd largest supercomputer in the world and was used to analyze high definition satellite imagery. Let's see. The initial model had so many bells and whistles, like a memory stick reader, an SD card slot, and a compact flash slot. Enough already!
What?
Like, no, not you. I'm talking about the system. Like all those card slots. It's like I wanted a game system, not a printer. But we also forget to mention you can connect a printer to the system. Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's kind of annoying. It's just trying to make these cards.
I don't have you peeing in my fucking bed.
Okay, here's one of the downsides of the PS3. This comes around the boom of creating content for the internet. See, most other systems didn't really have video encryption. Or if they did, it was meant strictly for playing back media that was copyrighted. The PS3, because it was a Blu-ray player, had HDCP encryption, which encrypted transmissions sent over HDMI such that capture cards couldn't read them. The problem with the PS3 is that it was on permanently, meaning the only way you could capture footage from a PS3 was through the component cables, which by comparison looked pretty damn ugly. This was fixed in the PS4, which gave you the option to turn the encryption on and off. By turning it off, you lose access to streaming apps and playing Blu-rays, but everything else works, so you can record to your heart's content. The PSP, which was the portable system the PSP was a portable system that came out at the time, and it could interface with the PS3 with things like in-game connectivity.
Fun fact, I will admit that we forgot to mention this, but PSP can also connect with PS2 games as well, but unfortunately there were a couple of games here and there that would only support that whole PSP, PS2 connectivity, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force Evolution, or whatever it was called, and WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2005.
Yeah, like the PS3 and PSP were buddies, so much buddies in fact that you could actually buy like downloadable PS1 titles for one system and then have a copy to transfer over the USB cable to the other system. Yeah, before full-fledged downloadable PS3 titles were a thing, that was one of the big uses of the store. Not only downloadable content, but also PS1 classics. It was how many of us got to know of these PS1 classics, even stuff we didn't get access to initially. Like I said before, Vib Ribbon.
Yeah. You okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just trying to figure out where the hell to start and end with this thing. Let's see. Blah blah blah. What else could a PS3 do? Let's see. Shoot. There were some really great games that came out on PS3, like PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, which was their answer to Nintendo's Smash Brothers series.
Yeah, sadly that thing never got a sequel.
Yeah. It also had a bunch of worthy successors to popular games that made their start on PS2, like Guitar Hero and Buzz.
Yeah.
And their Blu-ray, since their Blu-rays could hold movies and games, some people try to experiment with the format. In fact, there's actually a disc out there called Tekken Hybrid. And what Tekken Hybrid is if you put it in, say, a standard Blu-ray player or a 3D Blu-ray player, you would get the movie Tekken Blood Vengeance, right? But if you put it in a PS3, you would also get the movie and a couple of Tekken games. Like, the first one was Tekken Tag Tournament, which was a PS2 game, but they remastered it in high definition. And they also included a demo version of the sequel, which they dubbed Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Prologue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a really special format. I don't think we ever see much of these days. Like, I like seeing people, like, experiment with technology and create new and exciting things.
Yeah.
Let's see, next is the PlayStation 4. Where's the 4 button? Oh, there it is. The PlayStation 4 is when everything started to be standardized. You know the drill. HDMI cables, power supplies, hard drives, and RAM, and typical computer shit.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the things I don't like about video game systems nowadays, where they have to become like fucking PCs for some reason.
Yeah, PCs, but not PCs. Because PCs you can upgrade. This one you can swap out the hard drive. Maybe.
Yeah.
Alright. The PS4 could play games in 4K if you had the Pro model. Let's see, you could play some of your favorite games on the PlayStation Vita. It had a DualShock 4 controller included, which came with not only 6-axis and vibration, but also a touchpad.
Yeah.
Like, the movement controllers I forgot to mention from the PS3 make a return, except instead of being bundled with instead of being bundled with a better looking iToy camera, they bundled it with a VR headset. Sounds a bit like overkill, but okay. Let's see. Trying to think of other things to say here. This was the first system that this was the first system where PlayStation Network actually charged you to play online, and it was about the same price you would pay for Xbox Live these days.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I mentioned earlier is that they fixed the stupid encryption bullshit that I mentioned earlier. Like on the PS3, it was totally encrypted, so you couldn't capture with a capture card. This one, you can do that if you're okay with not being able to play Blu-rays while you're doing so.
Yeah.
Like Digi mentioned earlier, there's no on-disc compatibility with older games. But much like the PS3, you could download and purchase PS2 games to play on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for PS3 games, you can stream them. Like, the PS4 giveth and the PS4 taketh away, basically.
Yeah, buddy, I sent you a thing, Neil.
Okay. Yeah. There were some things I liked about the PS4, like it had the ability to record footage that you can then edit with their Upload Studio app and upload to places like YouTube and Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Much like the PS3, you could live stream to Twitch, but you can also live stream to YouTube on the PS4 without a capture card.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, the PS4 still is going strong today, even now, considering the PS5 is out and nobody that I know of anyway cares.
Sadly, though, from what I've heard of another YouTuber, that PS4 could probably have games until 2025 at most, from what I can remember.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let me see what I'm looking at here in terms of like lifespan. So the PS4 came out in 2013, and at that point the PS3 wasn't going to be discontinued until 2016. So I can't say that was halfway through. It was more than halfway through. So what that says about how long we have, I don't have a clue. I can tell you that all non-slim models were discontinued in Japan as of January of 2021.
Damn.
I guess they went all in on that PS5 bullshit.
For all those, like, you can get PS5 as much as you want, but for me, PS4 is like the last Sony system I ever wanted to own. Because honestly, at this point, I just starting to just not wanting to give a crap about newer systems anymore, aside from the Switch.
Okay, so let's see what else PS4 did. PS4 introduced a feature called SharePlay, which, if you have a game and someone else doesn't, you can invite them to a session and they can play with you via streaming. Why is there so much game streaming in this frickin' ecosystem, I swear.
I really don't know what to say about that play. But I can understand your pain.
Yeah. So let's see here. What else can I say? Like, seriously, I'm trying to think of things to say. The games. Let's talk about the games. One thing I can say about the games is they're running out of ideas. Since they know that they can't have back compatibility with PS2 games, they figured their solution was take those PS2 games and make PS4 games out of them.
Yeah.
Same with PS3 games. Like, remember Last of Us? Last of Us used to be a PS3 game. Now it's a PS4 game.
Yeah.
And they got some noteworthy exclusives like Spider-Man and Spider-Man. Did I mention they got Spider-Man? What else did the PS4 have? It had bullshit. Because, remember in the old days, you could just put a disc in and play? Now you have to install the fucking things.
That's one of the things I don't like about the PS4. It had to act like a fucking PC where you just insert a game and just have to wait until all the shit is done and then you can be able to play your game. It's like...
But it does have some advantages of a computer, like you can plug in a mouse and keyboard and a USB microphone and a flash drive. It can remote play to the Vita. Okay, it's hard for me to explain why the PS4 is so great, but it's one of the coolest modern systems I own. That being said, I'd much rather play the PS2.
Same. Only like on occasion I would play PS4 games.
Yeah.
Same with PS3, but I digress.
And we have nothing to say about the PlayStation 5 because we don't own a PlayStation 5 and we don't believe there is much a PlayStation 5 can offer over a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, like the like you can barely tell the graphics anymore between PS4 and 5, as far as I'm aware.
Well, let's see what they're gonna like. Well, let's see what the PlayStation 5 offers. It's hard to find. You have to kill people for a chance to buy one. There's scalpers that charge double or triple the rate for them. What else we got?
Yep.
It can play Ultra Blu-rays. They made a version with no disc drive for cost reduced. Why?
I don't know.
It has a solid state drive for high speed data access. You could play in 4K at 120 frames per second. It has hardware accelerated 3D sounds. There's a dual sense controller where the triggers actually fight you when you try to press them down. It's backward compatible with the PS4 and the PSVR. What the fuck is the point of this thing?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, you can say what you want about it.
Kind of makes me wonder what's the point of it as much as what's the point of Windows 11.
Right. I mean, honestly, if you own a PS5, good on you. You can bitch about how cool they are, but like from the perspective of someone who doesn't have one, can't find one at retail price, and is not willing to punch someone in the face or kick him in the dick for it, I don't see the appeal.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see. The most bullshit thing about it is I'd say the most bullshit thing about it is it's supposed to be, if you're gonna put a 5 on it, you have to give us something new. But it seems some people are adamant to tie us to like the old shit. Like, remember when PS4 used to have that free playable teaser, PT?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I never played it.
Yeah, like it was free and it served as a playable teaser for Silent Hills. Silent Hills got canceled, it got removed from the store, and Konami also made it so you couldn't download it anymore, meaning if you still have it, your PS4 is worth millions. And the bullshit does not stop there, because Konami also files DMCAs on people that try to recreate PT. And when Sony announced that you could transfer all your stuff from PS4 to PS5, Konami stepped in to make sure that you couldn't transfer PT. Just PT.
If I just want to slap Konami in the face.
Right. I honestly want to slap whoever decided to make a PS5 in the face, because, like, it's got cool stuff going for it, sure, but like in a market where like computer parts are getting expensive to the point where we got scalpers driving the price up the ass and people beating the hell out of each other for it, like, who the fuck cares? I'll stick with my PS4 because at least it's got good shit on it.
Don't blame you.
Yeah. There's not really much to say about the portable stuff either, because like there was just portable systems, there was their own little mess, and we didn't really have much experience with them. And don't even get me started on the new PlayStation Plus. I'll stick with Essential.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say, aside from the Pocket Station, there's PSP and PS Vita, but as far as I know, Sony had a really weird shit start with the Vita and whatever the fuck not.
I will mention one time Sony tried to break into the emerging micro console market. They decided to take the Vita, turn it into a tiny box that plays on your TV, and boom, PlayStation TV.
Yeah.
Like, it satisfied the goal of a micro console, a teeny tiny box you could play games on for less than $100, but like, it plays Vita games. Who cared about the Vita at the time the PS TV came out? Almost nobody, I betcha.
Yeah.
Like, as far as controversies go, I can't really think of any apart from some PlayStation Network shit. And there was this one time, PlayStation 3, it had support for a thing called Other OS, where you could format part of the hard drive to install a totally different operating system on it, mimicking the PlayStation 2 Linux thing. Unfortunately, Sony found out that people could use that exploit to launch Homebrew, so they got rid of it. This led to a bunch of people filing a class action lawsuit because some of them actually were using Other OS to take advantage of PS3's capability of doubling as a productivity computer.
Mm-hmm. And there was that memory card famine during the PS2 era, but I guess it's minor.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, how long have we been on? Let's see. Freaking hour 17. Okay. Let's give our final thoughts, I guess. PlayStation, you did good. Now you're not doing good. My recommendation is to just go third party so that you can continue being good, like Sega.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about PlayStation?
PlayStation 1, 2, good, really good. Yeah, PlayStation 1 and 2, best systems I ever played. Well, PlayStation 2 being the better one. PlayStation 3, it's an okay console. Like, I do kind of enjoy for what I did on it at the time, but yeah. PS4, I think it's better than the PS3 in some cases, but not as good as PS2 in my opinion. Right. And again, the last console ever, like the last Sony console and video game console, aside from the Switch in general, that I would ever own. Because again, at this point, I'm just done with newer, trendy video game consoles. Especially they're just becoming this, like graphics and whatnot, just becoming the same fucking thing. The only thing that's just different is just probably stupid hardware upgrades that a casual person is just not gonna fucking care.
Right. And that about does it for this episode of SmackDown on PlayStation. Thanks, Digi, for helping me not get bored to death.
Yeah.
Right. And for everybody else that usually comes to these things, next episode of Raw on the 13th will feature me playing DUUG Genius, an old Disney computer game, and next week on SmackDown, hopefully DSim can come back and we can look at some tech horror stories. So now you know what to look forward to. Thank you for watching. Say bye.
Bye.